100 days. I'll be with you shortly, 'cause I'm still absorbing, and everything's no longer ordinary. It's been a few hundred days. I'll be with you shortly, 'cause I'm still absorbing, and everything's no longer ordinary. It's been a few hundred days. I'll be with you shortly, 'cause I'm still absorbing, and everything's no longer ordinary. It's been a few hundred days. I'll be with you shortly, 'cause I'm still absorbing, and everything's no longer ordinary. Welcome back to 7997.
Hey guys, we're in the living room.
Again. It's been a long time since we've been on the couch.
Without a spoon and a fork in our face.
Yeah.
It's been fun, but it's nice to be chill.
I don't know. I don't miss the couch so much.
What?
I don't know. It's kind of nice to be out in the world a little bit, out seeing the sights, being in an actual place.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, once a week, sure. Not every day.
All right.
But yeah, we're back on the couch, podcast style, if you will.
Yes.
For a special occasion, this is sort of our 1-year anniversary here of being on YouTube and talking to each other and all of you.
Happy anniversary to us.
To us. So there's been, if you've been here since the beginning, there's been a lot of changes over time.
Yep.
We're trying out stuff, learning, growing, figuring it out, basically.
Equipment. Apartments,
yeah.
Seating arrangements.
Yeah.
His attitude.
Concepts.
Styles, right?
All those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the first place I want to start out, now we're kind of a year into this, it's like, why did we even start doing this YouTube thing in the first place?
Why?
Why?
We felt that there was a little void in the travel YouTube specific, I guess the SMA. So there was a little bit of a void, We observed that there's information out there on YouTube, excellent information, great deliverers, but we just want to put our own little funk on it, our own little stank, and bring a little bit of us to the world and, just our take on things that maybe we wish we knew, we wish we heard or had seen in SMA, and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. There are YouTubers that'll pop in, right, for the weekend. They'll go to the top 5 restaurants, top 5 sites, and they're out.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of it, the day-to-day,
And there's some that specialize in Merida or Quintana Roo, but there isn't as much that really talks about San Miguel de Allende and sort of everyday life and all the things you're going to go through after you've gotten your residency, after you've kind of settled in, after the vacation is over. What's life like really here?
Right. Because a lot of the YouTubers who are here, they're talking about, which again is important information, how to get here. Real estate information, things like that. Yeah. So it's like that transition. But again, after you done transition, after you stop vacationing and being like, oh my gosh, I live in Wonderland. Yeah. Then what?
Yeah.
So.
And I'll say also we started this channel as just a way for us to get closer to each other.
Because I've always told him I wanted to work together. He always said no.
This is the one business that we could do together and not kill each other.
I wouldn't kill him.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust it.
Anyway.
So we have, through this time, I think, have gotten closer together, have learned together and grown together. There's just a lot to kind of figure out in this space. And I think for us, that kind of facilitated a bunch of pivots. We started out doing one thing to another. And I think, if you've been around since the beginning, we started off talking about Mexico. And then we got some good advice to say, hey, don't just talk about Mexico. You guys' personality could really talk about anything. So we started talking about anything.
Right. Life and topics that was on our heads, in our hearts, close to home, like, death and children and parents and all the things, right?
Yeah.
And then
some of that stuff that we talked about outside of Mexico really didn't get as good a response.
Right.
Y'all weren't into it.
You could care less.
Y'all was like, give us some more Mexico.
They could care less. They were like, we want more Mexico. Now we want more Mexico.
Yeah.
So we had to listen to the audience.
Pivoted back on Mexico.
You got to listen to the customer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And then I think over time, as we got into doing more Mexico stuff, I think we realized some of the things that we see from other YouTubers as being limited is like there's a reason for that. Like there's only so much to talk about at some point. Like certain YouTubers you'll see, they're basically like every year doing the same content over again. Here's the 2025 version of what I said last year kind of a thing because after a while, there's really not that much more to talk about.
Correct.
It's just life after that point.
Right.
Like once you get past all the residency and the laws and what do I do with my car and how do I find a house and all that stuff.
Insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Like it became a very limited niche after a while. And like, I think for the audience, maybe they're okay with that if you're kind of always bringing in new people. But also as those who do the content, it gets boring. You get tired of trying to talk about the exact same thing over again.
It's like being married.
It kind of is.
What you want to do today? What you want to eat?
How was work?
How was work?
Oh, it was great.
Have you heard talk to the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just ends up being the same.
So I guess our current pivot, I don't know if it's final or not.
It's
Say it's current.
It's current.
The city we particularly live in, San Miguel, has a ton of restaurants, a big food scene.
There's
There's always a restaurant closing down and one reopening in its space.
Correct.
So for us, we looked at it as here's a way to give you a little slice of Mexico in this particular city that you're not going to get in depth from a lot of places. You'll see people give you,
the top 5
the
restaurants.
touristy restaurants they hit
Seriously.
that's close to the Hardin,
Yep.
But like, we have a list of maybe 200 restaurants at this point. Like that amount of content to go through is
Exhaustive. Almost.
infinite almost. It kind of feels not infinite, but it feels that way. So to say we have something that is long lasting, can be evergreen, good food is good food. You can
We'll
always
enjoy
find
it,
someplace-
and not because we chubby, but it.
because we
No,
chose to.
no, stop it. But when you're a foodie,
Right.
It's fun to be able to go out and hit up those places that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because when you start to live life for real, you always go to your regular haunts.
Yeah.
But this is actually giving us a chance to learn more about the city we live in.
Right.
While taking y'all on the ride.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And we also happen to be chefs, so we have a unique perspective in that we know the food inside and out. So even like this week, I went and looked for restaurants that are in a hotel and found 20 more restaurants I didn't even know existed. So like this city in particular just keeps on giving when it comes to food and restaurants. I think if anybody wants to start a business here, they're like, restaurant, let's do that.
Yep.
And to their detriment or to their success, some of them last and some of them don't.
Last, some don't.
So kind of having that as our new target of content to kind of put out. And it's almost like we're starting from the beginning every time we make a shift and a pivot.
Yeah.
Which is, I'll say it's a challenge, but also like once you've kind of done it and gotten yourself up to a point, that it is possible. It's not like it's necessarily disheartening.
Right.
So we've gotten up to the point where we have enough followers to make money.
And thank you guys.
Thank you so much for that.
We
for sure.
really appreciate you all. Really.
Yeah.
Because y'all trusting us with the information, and not only trusting us, but even if you're not moving here, there's a lot of you guys who have packed your bags and visited the city and reached out to us, or we bumped into you, at the grocery store, at a restaurant. And it is a very humbling experience. You know what I mean? Like, for real.
Like when you hear somebody say, I'm here because of you.
Yeah. Even like I said, even if it's for a visit.
Right.
It
can be a little scary sometimes too, because, I want to give people a broad perspective and give them the real, but like not everybody's going to enjoy it when they come here. Like,
that's because it's not for everybody.
And so like if they're like, I'm here because of you and I don't like it and it sucks.
Right.
I mean, sorry, maybe it's just not for you.
Sorry, but that's something we've actually said, because we do take our influence very, very seriously. We're not going to give you all these daffodils and roses, though there are many. That's not all we're going to give you. We're going to tell you about the things that we found challenging.
Right.
Maybe even other people found challenging.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure y'all know we are very humble and we're very appreciative just of y'all support and, buying merch and sign up for memberships and visiting the city. You know what I mean? It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool and very humbling. So I just really had to say that.
Yeah. So we've gotten to the point where we have enough followers or subscribers to be monetized. We've gotten views up into the tens of thousands of views, which is, impressive. Like, thank you everybody for watching. So I guess the next question is like, are we making any money doing this thing?
Un poquito.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Muy poquito.
Enough for coffee and enough for
coffee.
a couple of tacos.
We're able to pay for, when we go out to eat at restaurants for the restaurant reviews, we can pay for a couple of those with the money we've made from the channel. But we're not, this isn't our full-time job just yet.
By any means, neither one of us
It's
have
going to
retired.
take some time to get there.
I am still selling gumbo.
There you go. And I'm still working remote. So, we're not there just yet, but we are enjoying it despite not making a ton of money just yet.
Yeah.
So as we kind of gone through this year, if you could say maybe one thing you've learned about yourself going through this process.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, he's asking hard questions. For the record, he made these questions up.
I did.
Without my input. What have I learned about myself? What have I learned about myself? I think I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. I will tell you something I've learned about myself. Because of this platform, it has made us, and because our town is small, right? I think if it would be different if we were like in New York City or Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Those are very large environments. We would be little fish, right?
Yeah.
And by no means are we big fish, but our town is smaller. And so we get recognized more often. And I didn't know how that was going to impact me. You know what I mean? And it's not a negative impact, but there's an impact, because there are times. It's so weird because you hear what we think of as famous people, right? They're like, I was just trying to get something to eat. And then up comes a fan, right? I was just trying to go to the grocery store, and then up comes a fan. I was sitting at a red light, and so we've experienced that.
Yeah.
And I think more so me than you, only because I'm out in the streets more than you are, right? So I'm at the market, I'm at the grocery store, I'm all, different places, hanging out with the girls or whatever. And it's like, have I? And you know what I mean? And then you have to stop what you're doing, because I am that person who will stop. And I'm gonna give you a hug. We're gonna exchange info. So I want to absorb it, because I know that they're important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you guys are important. So I do stop. And but I didn't realize that was going to happen, if you will. I don't know any other way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't have the biggest audience in the world, right? Like we have, at most we get 25,000 people that might watch a video. And, they're probably all over the world. They are,
because we see the analytics, right?
Right. So, like, there's probably a time for a couple weeks when, like, every time I left the house, somebody would recognize me. They wouldn't necessarily always know where from. Like, didn't I see you somewhere? Like,
when they start squinting.
Our landlady's mother came in and was like, we saw this YouTube video with these Americans, and it looked like it was our house. Like, that's our house. Like, yeah, that was you guys. Like, okay.
Mexican relocation guy.
Yeah. So, it is surprising, but also it kind of tells you that this is a small town and news travels fast here, and everybody does kind of know each other in some way, shape, or form. And I think I've always felt like we stood out here just because we are Black Americans, in a Mexican town. But it's also like people from wherever, in town, out of town, coming in, they're seeing us, and we also stand out in that way as well. So like, whereas I'm somebody who probably would be fine with being anonymous and
behind the scenes,
absolutely. Coming out in front of the scenes a little bit has kind of taught me to I guess, be a little bit more forthcoming with people when I meet them, because I'm not always, super talkative or super warm when I meet everybody.
Right.
Not that I'm necessarily cold or off-putting, but
He ain't even warm with me, y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you saying?
but like when you meet people in public, there is a certain graciousness that you need to have.
Yeah.
There's a certain, giving of yourself that you need to have
That's
in public.
right. That's right.
That you're not always willing to be forthright with all the time
Yes.
when you just meet somebody. Like,
Right.
I'm not always trying to,
Right.
oh, hey.
Because that's normally me.
Right.
So what I've learned is that I'm not as I thought I was.
As that. What is that?
As that forthcoming.
Oh, when you meet somebody new.
Yeah. I guess because it's not on my terms.
Right, like you're both.
I
I think when you meet someone, naturally you're both anonymous, right? You're both like, I don't know you. But somebody comes up to you and they know things about you already.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a little weird. Like,
that is it.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And people kind of feel like they're our friend already.
Like, there is a knowing.
I don't know you though.
But the funny thing is, y'all do know us because we tell y'all a lot about our stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You've met our children, right? All these things, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Because I am a shaking hand, kiss babies kind of a person.
Yeah.
I am totally running for mayor all the time. But to your point, that is stranger on stranger, not stranger on they know me with some level of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned, that there's a time where it's like, it's weird. It's weird. But I like it because I appreciate their support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it isn't like a dislike or any of that. It's wow. It's every time, and I always say it to you, like, this is really real.
Yeah.
And we have an impact. We have a voice.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful. You know what I mean? We have to be very careful with how we comport ourselves.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say I learned about myself is that I actually enjoy doing the video thing. Like,
Oh, this brother been killing it, y'all.
It was definitely challenging in the beginning for a lot of reasons. Number one, like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just learning.
Right.
Number two, my equipment was trash at the time. It was just not good. And like, once you kind of get into a creative pursuit or any kind of new space and you start learning about the ins and outs of it, and you understand, okay, a camera can cost $8,000, or you can get an old one like we started with that costs $200. Or you could just use your phone. But like, there are limitations to all of that. And there are things that make your job easier or harder depending on those choices you make and how much money you spend or what your budget is.
Right.
So like, starting off really cheap, and like I say this to a lot of parents too, of like we did with our boys, when they grew up, they was like around the PS2, PS3 era. But I got them a Nintendo first. I got them a Sega Genesis first. Like, get the basic thing first.
Yeah.
Learn about that, get used to that, and then you can actually appreciate the higher level stuff once you get it. But like, if you're trying to learn on the higher level stuff, sometimes you just don't fully appreciate what you have. So like, once you try and make something good on just your phone or on a crappy camera, once you get a quality camera, like, you appreciate it so much better. And like, you can see the quality of our videos over time, where some of those first videos were just literally Zoom videos recorded.
Yeah, they were.
The one where I ruined the focus for the entire video, and I had AI process my face so I could try and recover and save the video.
My Lord.
And also learning, like, I'm always on the bandwagon of like not being precious about stuff. Just like, do it. If it's not perfect, fine, put it out.
Until it comes to me. But go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Whatever. But like, really being hardcore about not being precious, you understand how more important consistency is than being perfect every time.
Yeah.
So like, there's videos where the sound is messed up. There's videos where the lighting is messed up.
Whatever, hair's out of order.
Right.
Something.
People give you grace. They're there because you keep coming back, and like, I keep enjoying what you're doing regardless of how much you messed it up that episode.
Correct.
But like, now we're to a point where I feel like we have a visual style. We have,
No, you, Mr. Creative Artiste, and you've been doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Your growth has been spectacular.
I mean, that's what I do. At the end of the day, like I always say, like creativity is all the same, whether you apply it to food or music, or I do graphic design, UX design, video, like it's all the same thing. It's about getting into that venue, understanding it, knowing what makes it tick, and then just putting your own creative spin on it.
Right.
So like, it's the same thing.
Right,
Whether I make a
right.
composed dish, I can also make a composed video
Right.
or a composed logo.
Now.
Like, right. Now that I understand what it takes.
Now, right.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I would be hard pressed to see what you would put out with that original equipment. With that, did you sell it off? You already eBayed it?
I sold it.
Oh, no, man. He eBayed it, y'all.
Yeah, and like now,
right?
it probably won't be the same quality, but I could,
Finesse it.
get a much better result out of what I had to
Correct.
begin with.
Yeah, you could finesse it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But like with the first camera we had, where like the recording limit is like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And like we would have to literally
stop.
wait, have a timer going and waiting for the beep of the camera to stop. And like, okay, what did we say last time? Let's go back. And,
go.
Whereas now I can just let the camera run. Like,
Right, right.
It just small things like that you don't even think about. But now it's like, okay, I have actual equipment that actually does what it's supposed to do. And I'm not fighting it the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would say from what we learned about each other or ourselves to like, what have we kind of learned about YouTube as a place to like put out content? Like,
Oh, it's finicky.
very much so.
YouTube, Tuba y'all. No, it's not necessarily the people are finicky. It's the actual platform.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Well, I guess so, huh? Because the platform follows the people.
Right. So like, there is the idea that a lot of people say, oh, the algorithm does this and the algorithm does that. And my understanding of what the algorithm does is it says, I'm going to give this video to some people. If they like it, I'm going to give it to some more people like them. If they like it, I'm going to give it to more people like them. So it keeps doing that over and over. But like, you do something and you see it be successful and you try and replicate it.
And then it won't hit. Correct.
Correct. So it's
like we went from one video that was 300 views. Then the next week it was like 1,000. And then the next week we did like a 25, 30,000.
Right.
Then the next week it was 99. And you just like, that doesn't
like
make
it feels
sense.
like we're repeating the same process.
Correct.
But for some reason we're not. Like some reason we have not mastered whatever that thing is that gets people to watch our particular style of video at a large rate. And some of that just takes time to figure out. Definitely when we were doing the podcast stuff, it took us time to build up to that 20, 25,000.
Yeah.
And like for us in that realm, it was about that relationship between the U.S. and Mexico, like pitting those two against each other.
Yeah.
Those
y'all
videos
like
did well.
conflict. Let me tell you about y'all sales.
It's the conflict.
Y'all likes a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like once we did that, and then you put those into a compilation, and the compilations would do well. And then we try the restaurant food reviews, and we try to do compilations with the food reviews, and they're not hitting the same. They're not really caring about the
Rotten
compilation.
tomatoes.
So, we're still trying to figure out like what is the sweet spot for the restaurant stuff. But like definitely saying we appreciate this visual style, this way to present what we're doing. Like when I look at what we're doing now, it feels different enough than, Strictly Dumpling, Mikey Chen, or Mark Weens, or any of the other people in
Absolutely,
that space.
yeah.
I feel like we have our own lane, at least, for the most part.
Yeah.
A little more cinematic, a little more, touchy-feely, organic, natural feeling. I think there's still a place for us to kind of improve in that. But like YouTube...
It's very artistic to me, though, the way you're putting it out.
Yeah. I think you even brought up a good point of like, places we've been going recently have been very visually eye-candy places. So it's like a lot easier to do that. But like when you go to the hole-in-the-wall place, like... There's no beautiful courtyard and garden out back and like all these other things.
There's just some bomb food.
Yeah. So like
a Carnitas Bautista.
Apply that style to
because we want y'all to meet Mr. Bautista.
Yeah.
And their carnitas.
Where it's literally like a tent and a dirt floor and, big copper pot frying some pork.
You better say it. Yeah. And the abuelas over there making the tortillas. And the granddaughters over there chopping it up and selling it about a kilo.
Yep.
It's nothing fancy, but it is delicious. And y'all need to see it and need to know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I think, we've learned a lot about what we think YouTube is or isn't. And I think at the very least, I can say I know for sure that you need to be on it keep practicing. Not even necessarily be on it, but keep practicing your art that you're doing on it.
Yeah.
Whatever you're presenting, keep doing that thing over and over again. You're going to get better at it.
Consistency, right?
The more you do it, the more you practice, the better the quality is, the more people are going to appreciate it, and you'll find your audience eventually.
Yeah.
So
We're going to find our people.
Part of that is like the visual of it, and then even I'm getting into more of the musical scoring and making sure that everything kind of feels cohesive between music and visual at this point.
Because the boy is talented.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that he's scoring stuff.
Yeah.
Which you can, and you've done it very well.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So on that note, I guess we'll wrap it up this week. Do you have any other questions you're thinking about, sort of looking back on the year?
Would you do it over again?
Sort of a knowing what I know now kind of thing. Knowing what I know now, I would do it over again. I would do it differently. I think what I had intended to do when we switch over to the food reviews was do a whole bunch of them and then drop them every day for a month to kind of hit the algorithm, hit the audience constantly with new content. And part of that is like when somebody sees something they like, very much the algorithm will try and show them something else. But if you only drop one food review video, oh, I like that video. What else is there? There's nothing yet. Whereas if you're dropping something every day for 30 days, by the end of that first month, you've got 30 pieces of content for somebody as soon as they find you to see 30 other
There's
things
more.
that you've done.
Okay.
But like that's easier said than done.
Correct, because you got to go and film it. You have to pay for it because we need the pesos to pay for it.
Right.
And then you need the time. We have regular jobs. And then you need the more time to score it. Especially because you want to score it yourself.
Yeah.
And then, producing the video. So when you are a 2-man, 1-man band, or especially on the behind the camera, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, maybe we'll get to that point where, if we make another pivot or want to do another channel, we'll really do a really heavy hit in the front to kind of get the algorithm pushing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I had to do it over again, I would definitely do it over again. I'd do it a little differently. Obviously, knowing what I know now, I'd be able to kind of focus on a particular thing. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. We'll keep it going as long as y'all are interested.
Yeah.
As long as we're interested.
Yeah.
It's got to be mutual at the end of the day.
Gotta be a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
Gotta be happy marriage.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to us.
Yes.
Cuídate.
Arias Garce.
Happy New Year. Feliz año.
Yes.
Right?
All those things.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
And we look forward to bumping to y'all at the city market.
If you've been with us for a year, haven't become a member yet, now is the perfect time.
Please and thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe. Buy
Comment,
us a
like,
coffee.
and subscribe. Tacos now, not the coffees.
And even though we're doing food review videos, we're still here and available for you guys for consultation. If you're thinking about coming down to Mexico and just want some advice, 7997.life. Check us out on that.
Yeah, which many have. So
Many have, yeah.
we just appreciate you all again. That's another showing and a sign that they appreciate us and they trust us.
Yeah.
So we love y'all.
All right. Peace out.